Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. You know, for those of you watching that have kids, you know that it doesn't take long for your house to turn into a war zone. Now, when it gets cold and our boys come in from playing outside, it's not uncommon to see the floor decorated with a jacket or two. So what I'm going to do today is build a simple coat rack that I can mount to the back of my son's bedroom door. Now, one of his favorite things is dinosaurs, so I'm going to be making it T-Rex style. Okay, now this project is really only going to involve two things, and that's a backboard and then 4 coat hangers. Now the backboard is going to be painted, which is nice because it allows me to use up some scraps that I have laying around the shop. I don't need any kind of expensive hardwood or anything like that. I'm just going to use a piece of 3/4 inch birch plywood. Now the coat hangers are cast iron and they got that cool dinosaur look. Now I did get these at Hobby Lobby and I wanted to leave a link in the description box for you guys to check out, but when I got online they are no longer there, or they're not on the website. So it might be one of those things that they only get in every now and then. But if you are looking for unique hardware, definitely check out Hobby Lobby. They got a lot of stuff. Okay, now to kick things off here, I'm going to search for that perfect piece of scrap plywood. And once I find it, I'm going to go ahead and rip it to the right width on the table saw. And then my next step is to square up one end of the board and then measure out and mark the length on the opposite end of the board. Then I'm going to head over to the bandsaw and make the cut just saving the pencil line, and then finish it up on the disc sander and sand down to the line. To dress this backboard up a little bit, I'm going to put a 45-degree chamfer the whole way around it. Now I could do that with a router, but by the time I get the router set up, I can do it just as easily with a table saw. But guys, that is not as important as a little man coming up behind me. That is my youngest son, Carson, and he likes to hang out at the shop sometimes when I'm working back there, and he is nuts about dinosaurs. Guys, I'm going to stop this video right here and tell you probably the most important thing you're going to hear today. If you have a 4-year-old son or daughter standing behind you with a stick, making a face that resembles anything close to that, you know something serious is about to go down. Now luckily I came out unscathed, but be careful out there guys, it's dangerous. Back at the table saw, I'm going to run both the edge and the end of the backboard along the fence to create that 45-degree chamfer. Now that I got the backboard finished, I'm going to go ahead and space out the hangers where they need to be. And if you look below the T-Rex, there's a flat area. I'm going to go ahead and mark that and then use my pencil and combination square to make a reference line. Now that reference line will help me to line everything back up once I put the hangers back on the board. With everything back in place, I'm going to measure one more time just to make sure everything is spaced out evenly. And last but not least, I'm going to use a scratch awl to mark the location of the holes. That way I'll know exactly where the screws go. To mount this to the door, I'm going to put screws in the middle and both ends of the backboard. Now here I'm just marking the rough location based on where the hangers are. Then I'm going to use the combination square to measure up to make sure everything is the same height up from the bottom and from the ends. And then I'm going to use the tape measure to make sure the middle one is dead center. Over at the drill press, I'm going to first drill a counter bore so that the heads of the mounting screws sit below the surface. Then I'm going to drill a through hole and then a pilot hole for the coat hanger screws. When working with plywood, it doesn't have end or edge grain like hardwood does. Instead, you can actually see the layers of plies, and along with that comes cracks and voids that can affect the finish. Now what I like to do to give it a more professional look is to fill in those voids all the way around with a filler. And a lot of times I don't even use wood filler, I'll just use joint compound. It goes on easy, dries pretty quick, sands easy, and gives the paint job a much smoother look. Alright, this project is finally ready for some paint, and I'm going to lay down 2 blocks so that I can sit the backboard on. That way I can easily paint around the ends and edges. Then I'm going to hit it with 2 coats of gray to match my son's bedroom. Now to finish up this project, I'm going to screw on the coat hangers. Guys, I did use 1-inch screws for this, and they actually poked through the back a little bit, but that's okay because I can just grind them off with the angle grinder. Now that this project's complete, let's go hang it up. Guys, hanging things on this type of door and getting it to stay can sometimes be a little tricky. They're hollow and they really just don't hold hardware that well. But one of the things I have found that works is these metal anchors that are specifically made for hollow core doors. They have a pretty aggressive spiral, and whenever I've used these in the past in either doors or drywall, they've always held really well. Now I did get these at Lowe's, so I'll leave a link in the description box in case you want to check it out. The first thing I'm going to do is hold the coat rack up to the door where I want it, and then use the scratch awl and mark the hole on the far side. Then I'm going to drill a pilot hole using the 3/16 bit and then screw in the anchor. I'm going to just partially fasten this side, still keeping it loose. That way I can still swing the other side up, and this makes it that much easier to level the coat rack, mark the holes, and then fasten it down for good. Now in the end, what we're left with is a coat rack that not only looks good, but is also very functional. And let's face it, if kids like what's in their room, most likely they're going to want to spend more time in their room, and hopefully that means they're going to spend less time tearing up the rest of the house. Alright guys, this project turned out to be a pretty cool addition to my son's dinosaur room. But before we check out, let's check in with the boss and see what he has to say. Carson, do you like your new coat rack?
Yes!
Alright, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. And if you're watching this video right after it came out, the holidays are coming up, it's Thanksgiving, so eat a lot of turkey, have a good holiday, and we'll see you guys again back at the shop.